Oh, no, it wasn't recording, that's for sure. I shut that off last night and downloaded and posted it. Um, It, the microphone was on. I shut it. There you go. You don't want this stream, do you? Oh, no, I'm just gonna record it. I'll edit it up, but he said he wanted it. I mean, yeah, it's a budget meeting. You want this one? Or- I like that. Well, you can get it three different little. Yeah, you can get gummy.
Really, lion's mane? It really lion? Oh, it's mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
Okay, I
Yeah,
was
they call
thinking
it, it's a lion's mane mushroom. Because when you
an African safari. I could see him doing. Yeah. We're good. All right, we can start this budget meeting. Yes. I mean I've been doing this for 27 years. So, of course, you do have the proposed 2025 budget in front of you. There's not much exciting in this year's budget. I'll just touch upon a few things. As far as our revenue stream, the only thing that has really increased, worth mentioning, would be our EIT. Of course, let's start at the top before I jump in. Our real estate taxes, as you can see, we're recommending just about what we budgeted for 2024 for real estate taxes. McConnell Trails is built out. The only thing we really have to look forward to right now is possibly the Silver Creek development coming online. So there's not really a whole lot of residential development going on right now. So those numbers are in that category, specifically the real property taxes, are relatively the same as we budgeted last year. When we get down to the enabling taxes, there is a slight increase in your EIT. That's actually up 12%. So the one good thing is, we may be a little slow in real estate. We're doing well in the earned income tax bracket. Cable, you guys can follow along. Their cable franchise fees, those things are all just about the same. Like I said, there's very little change in this this budget from last year's budget. Interest earnings, of course, are up this year. That, of course, is due in part to our bond issues, that we were able to hold that money in a interest-bearing account until we were able to make our payments off for the Public Works building. So we won't quite see as much. However, rates are still remaining high, so whatever funds we do have, we can still expect to see a good return, about 5% right now on those funds. Page 3. Once again, everything is relatively the same. There's very little change in any of these categories. Same on page 4. I mean, that's it. As far as for the revenue stream, that's it. There's very little change to really report to you, and I know the board members have had this budget for at least 3 weeks, so I know you've had time to look over and digest and hopefully prepare questions for amongst each other, or because of the short notice of the meeting tonight, Cindy wasn't able to make it. So you're stuck with me. Yeah. Are you talking about like North, where they created North and South Morgan? The township was, the township, I'm sorry, the Turnpike has already met their obligations when they turned those roads over to us. That was part of their punch list for the final inspection of the Turnpike. Bill and I were both present when they did those closeouts. The same thing with, the Carmen Road was done from the cul-de-sac. If you're talking about the rest of the road, since it was not impacted by the Turnpike, any obligation would be solely on the township. Yeah, there was no agreement for any other improvement other than what the Turnpike disrupted. Yeah, the other roads, Frank, that we talked about, like North Morganza, South Morganza, that were created from the severing of Morganza Road, those were turned back to the township, and they appear in part of our liquid fuels inventory now. So those roads were added on. Does anyone have any other questions on revenue? When we get to the expenditures, and once again, these are very similar to last year. The only thing of a significant increase to report is that there was a 7% increase in our healthcare costs. Most of our other contractual obligations, such as those to the police contract and the Public Works contract, police, of course, went up 3%, Public Works 3.5%. Oh, it's guaranteed. They've already set that. They normally set those rates for us in September. You're talking about park rental, Cindy? Yeah, a lot of times I think Cindy has to actually kind of poke them a little bit to get those payments. So I'll make sure that she follows through on that. Okay. What should that be annually for the on the soccer field rental? Okay, I'll just make sure that. Yeah, because her year-end forecast was actually soft on that as well. It was 7,000. Yeah. I haven't paid much attention to. I don't know if the board has. I think the state legislature has changed the rule regarding supervisor salary. And I don't know if the board's paid any attention to any interest in increasing that or changing that or modifying that. I really didn't research. But those numbers are all remain the same, and at least as far as the 400 series budget items. Yeah, I mean, if you look at, for example, yeah, when we moved down to the executive, we're talking $3,000 difference between last year, or actually 10,000. Same thing with financial administration. It's actually $300 more. So yes, this budget looks very similar to last year's. I know some items sometimes the board likes to talk about. I'm on page 7. When we get to solicitor legal services, put a figure in there of 150,000. Does the board have any feelings regarding that number? Yeah, the forecast is 150, yes. Um, When we turn to the next page, engineering services, we're anticipating 250,000 this coming year. This past year was 274. Now, that 274 number does not include work that was done at the Public Works, at any of the engineering costs for the Public Works facility. Those were all kept separate and paid out as part of the bond issue. So those numbers are not reflected in here. I think there were a lot of projects this year. We had the Maple Street Bridge. What other projects? I mean, of course, the road project of $1 million. Yeah, you're right, Tom. That does include some, yes. You're right, Tom. Yes, you're right. Correct. Correct. escrow account. I think we should. I'll tell Cindy to do that so that it's, right. Well, this is the proposed budget. Yeah. Yeah, I think they have been, haven't they? Yeah, right. Sure, I will. Yeah, we're just creating another category for that, sure. Right, right, okay. Yeah, that would actually impact our, on our revenue side. If, yeah, we haven't updated this fee schedule probably for, oh, geez, maybe 5 years, 7 years? Yeah. Is it '09? Okay, so yeah, I knew it's been a while. Well, yeah. I mean, in some of the fee categories, such as, the pavilion rental, they have not accounted for the cost for those that clean the pavilions in the park and the restrooms. The same thing with generation rental. Um, hmm. Oh, right. Right. In, I'm sorry, for clarification, for the engineering fees, those engineering fees are actually from our general fund, so those are engineering fees for general township-wide projects. Those do not include the developer in and out that appear in the escrow accounts. Those are, yes, that's right, yes. That's correct, right, there are not, there is no reimbursement to that, correct. Yes, that's, and this number kind of takes that into effect. He does, but those come out of the bond, those are not part of your general fund budget. Yeah, no, correct, you're right. This year, possibly, yes. Well, if you include the project of the Public Works building, yes. Yeah, sure, sure. Right. Yeah, I can do a summary for each project that he, and get you a total. Okay. He does, and yes, he does, and they're normally categorized per project. For example, what work they did on the Maple Street Bridge, the title is Maple Street. Right. Yeah, Gretchen does the same thing with her bill. Right. For our road program, yes, he does, and I think it's 7 or 9%. Yes. You did the over vertical on Klinger Road. No, you're right. 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 That's correct. Exactly right. Sure, sure, that's not a problem. Right, and to Frank's point, that kind of gives you an idea. Frank's right. If you run $1 million project, which the township has been doing for road improvements, about 1 million each year, 9% of that, you're talking almost close to 100. I mean, roughly 90,000, but $100,000 in engineering cost for those programs. Yes, That was covered with a grant, yes. Right. Yeah, I'll get you an itemized summary from his expenditures. Page 8, government buildings. I don't think we anticipate any major repairs, Tom, to this building. We're probably gonna hold off on the roof a little longer. So those numbers, once again, are very close to last year. We entered into the police budget. I think the only large expenditure that they have set up is, of course, for major equipment. And that's because the chief has made the recommendation for 2 additional police cars in 2025. That brings us to the fire budget. Teddy's here if you want to address Ted or have any questions. I know Ted worked with his staff to come up with the numbers for this budget category. He did? Well, no, Ted, that's who prepared it. Okay. It's moved. I moved it. Okay. And the only thing I don't, Ted, when are we supposed to receive our fire truck? Is that, no. I'm sorry, we did, yes. We did. We paid in advance because we received a significant discount by paying in advance for that. Yeah, I have to look at the breakdown because I remember, yeah, there wasn't enough in the but there were some fire tax monies that were used for that. I'll have to get the breakdown from Cindy. But that was paid that was paid in, no, just any vehicle payments. And there was some discussion, I don't know, Ted, you want to address the board with possibly taking, I don't know if there was taking over payments on trucks because they would be reassigned to the township. There was a lot of things that were discussed, but Ted and Cindy primarily worked on this portion of the budget. Yes, would the township be assuming any of those? And that already comes out of this budget item, so. All right. 667. Foreign fire is money that is collected from all of the out-of-state insurance companies that do business in the state of Pennsylvania. The state collects those funds, and they share it amongst all the fire departments. So each fire department, correct me if I'm wrong, they have they call what, a foreign fire service that they actually or go ahead and explain it. Yes, it is. We receive that revenue, and it's right. Yes, yeah, it's balanced on either side. Right. Planning and zoning. If you look at planning and zoning, I think it's actually less this year than it was last year. Jack, we have $10,000 in there for printing and binding. As we talked last night, because Cindy had mentioned to me about, we, actually, the township did pass a number of ordinances this year. And we only update that, what, once a year? I think in E-code, we're gonna work with, E-code should be something that they're automatically uploading for us. Once we get the ordinances approved, signed, sealed, recorded, Jack will get them to general codes, and they will upload our information on the E-code, the electronic version of our codes, so that they have the most up-to-date. Is that a question or a promise? Animal control, she just raised her fees, yes, that was of the 3 or 4 things that went up. She raised her fees $50 a month. So it's a $600 annual increase. And quite honestly, it has stayed, her rate has stayed stagnant for a long time, so. I was actually even surprised to see that, but I'm not surprised, you know, in one regard. It's here, page 12, part of our planning and zoning. Going over that, it's actually a little less than last year. Other public service is the same. Roll, cycling, public works. Bill, do you want to address anything in the public works portion? I mean, if we look at this year's budget, yeah, we're less than last year, 1.8 versus 1.9. Salt should be down. Of course, we do have some surplus because the winters have been light. Not what they're predicting this year, but predicting more snow this year, but I'd like to get paid and be wrong 75% of the time, but yeah. Right. It looks like a drop in there. Yeah, it's, what is it, a third full? I think it's about a third full. Page 14, everything, once again, is very close. I mean, I'm sorry it's not that exciting, but yeah, it is, like I said, this budget very closely mimics 2024. Also placed $1 million in there for capital road projects. You want to sell Thompson? No. It was $1,500 for that entire pile, which is, yeah, I mean, I'm sure the purchaser was thinking he was getting a good, yeah, but that's like gold. It is gold. No, it doesn't. Bill has been using it for what they've, yeah, we were lowballed on that. Yeah, some of them can, right, yeah, right, some of them that are designed for that. McDonald, correct. category above that, that's park expenditures. As you see, as far as the totals, they're very close. And park improvements, although there were not any significant improvements performed this year, we kept that at $75,000. I know Cindy intends to work on some grants, but I don't know if you have anything else or, designated for park improvements. Safety, right. You know what, Bill, I see what I'll get you a report for that. I don't know what Cindy may have earmarked that for, because that is an oddity. It kind of stands out there. I'll pull up the report tomorrow on the computer. 31,470 for forecast for materials and supplies. I'm sorry, miscellaneous expenses. Only oddity in there. If you take that out of there, that means the total was really below budget for that particular category for this year. Contour Trail, Lawrence. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm almost, yeah, it makes sense because it wasn't a budgeted, okay. Page, our bond payments and our bond interest. Employment, pension, I mean, we can't get away from those items. Those are items we have to do. The payroll contingency is for the board to determine what you're going to do with salaries for administrative staff. It's not included in contractual obligations. That's it, zeros from there out. $13,851,574. That is for the, right, that's, yeah, and those are based off the MMO minimum municipal obligations, the worksheet that we have to fill out every year, and that's based on payroll, the rates from the state, and that's what they work out to. Uniform is for the police department, non-uniform is for all of their township employees. Those are all reviewed with our pension managers first. Submit that form to the state. Well, the 844 is the total we owe, and then when you look in revenue, there should be, there will be a pension from the state, pension state aid. It's a 355,050 item. We'll receive $435,000 from the state to help in both of those pension plan systems. That's the state's contribution. Yes, that's one of them, yes. One of them is the large truck that's almost $1 million. Fire truck. Yes. Correct. We're not in deficit, no. But we have a surplus, right, we actually, a fund balance. No, you would have to do that at your, you could do it either at the adoption meeting that you'll have for your final budget, or you could do it at your January 6th, January 6th reorganization meeting. Yes, your reorg will actually be on January 6th. And I think Tom suggested that there would be a final adoption, should this preliminary be approved tonight, that, on the 30th. I'll be out of town. Yeah, that's a screwy. Yeah, it's a tease thing.
Record show, oh, Carol is here. Sorry, you haven't done work tonight. You're blocked by the screen. How do you realize he can Bill? The record show that Supervisors Barney, Gizio, Caswell,
Shafoni.
Fisher, and Chiffon are here. In addition, Don Januso and Ted and Bill and yourself. Put yourself in there, Joe.
Darling didn't have a double dose of Brewer's yeast. He can't remember anything.
I'm losing it. All right, the one item we have to do is item number 268-2024, consider the adoption of the 2025 preliminary budget for Cecil Township in the amount of, I turned it over by mistake. I will read it off. $13,851,574. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
You moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.